Okay. Redoing this video because my mic, when I put it on this camera, is always mute for some reason. I have to unmute it. I don't know why. Okay. But anyway, this is about the R6II with the EF to R adapter, RF adapter with the EF 40 millimeter f2.8 pancake lens. Excellent. You can do an autofocus, manual focus. Excellent lens. And I'm going to show you some pictures why. I think the R6II is capped at, I think at the ISO at 25,600. Let me take a look real quick. Yeah. I mean, the speed range is 100 to 102, 400. I got it on auto, but the auto range is at 100 to 25,600. Okay. So it does make a difference if you cap it, if you want to reduce noise. All right. So let's go to my share. Let's go to this program right here. So I'm using Preview, Ecamm Live Pro for the program with the camera and showing this stuff. As you can see, the clouds look nice, but the thing that gets me, look at the stars. They're coming through, all right, the picture, whereas in many other cameras, they're blown out. It's too bright. So this is working just right. So where you can see another star in the center and to the right, but you can see the hospital cranes, all right? I was focusing on the star, not the cranes. And then same thing, just the clouds. Had no problem focusing or taking the shot. Sometimes with a white contrast, I would just focus breathe. It's doing great. I do have focus breathe compensation on. I think that's Mars. I did move the camera a little bit, but still, it looks sharp. Okay. Kind of blue instead of black, but that's okay. I like the white, in the clouds. They look like clouds with a little noise, but not too much. And some more. So look at the stars. Uh, Many other cameras I own will show stars, but it's lit up. It's too bright. This is kind of like the right. I'm liking it the right texture. Okay. By using the Nikons, they look much brighter, but then that's looking through the EVF. Looking at the pictures, it's totally different. Okay. So sometimes you get fooled by looking through the EVF. They're so bright. And it says, oh man, maybe I should darken it up. And you do the minus exposure, and that's a big mistake. So you just have to remember that. So you want to get a balance between your EVF and the pictures taken. And that's the important thing. It's like, that's what the DSLRs were good, is that when you look through the viewfinder, or you know you it took what you saw. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the slideshow. More clouds, and you see some are dark, but yet you can see some stars. And I was just blown away at looking at these pictures. Okay. Nighttime, went inside, and this is the auto white balance. It's not the um, incandescent. but the pictures are sharp. The light may be a little bit saturated now and then if it's too much bright, and you'll see that. But you get the different tones of color, the shadows and stuff. Basically, what I was focusing on was in the center of the cross. You can look at the column where it's a little blur, the refrigerator's a little blur, but I see no barrel distortion. Okay. Now, the cabinet does go like that. Okay. So it's a little bit off. Um, but after 20 years, wood does travel a little bit. Went outside. The lighting looked good. The wind was blowing, so the clouds are disappearing. And I took some night shots, but whatever clouds were left, you can still see stars, like on the edges. In the center again, I kept going there. You can see the stars on the top, above the trees and then above the crane. And I was just amazed. I just kept taking pictures. Couldn't believe all the stars showing up. I was taking pictures of the clouds, not expecting the stars. And they showed up. Now, if there's any distortion, there might be on the left-hand side of the shed, but I had the camera something like that. Okay? Not level. So you do make that mistake now and then. They do have a feature on the display where you can make it level. Okay? But just going through the pictures, the wind was blowing and I was using the shutter, okay, only. And some pictures were out of focus, but that's nighttime. But when I kept pointing out up to the sky, I just says, man, it's just beautiful. I loved watching the clouds roll. I did a video on it. But the pictures, I mean, look at this shot. Look at all the stars you can see with clouds. Excellent. There's another one. Sharp images. Of course, you take it out in the morning. I was trying to get the bird and it focused on the house. I had to change it to from cars to animal, right? On subject detection. I did have it on autofocus on everything, and I didn't like what the camera chose. Okay. Sometimes I wanted like a pretty flower, and I went to a tree, or something that looked like an eye. So that didn't work out. I went to pinpoint or the small, and that way I can direct exactly what I want to see. And sometimes it shifted right on the focus. So you have to the point again, just like with the Sony, because Sony chooses what to pick also. Nikon has that feature. I just upgraded the Z8 and it's looking awesome. So, the focusing improved quite a bit. I just upgraded the Sony A7CR and the focusing. Plus, it has now dynamic active stabilization. Changes the camera completely. It was still above the ZV-E1 because of the megapixels, and it has an EVF, right? But the A7C2 has an EVF. They're not good, all right, but they're passable, all right? Just as long as you get the things in focus, take the shot, the pictures come out fantastic. But now I think the A7C2 leapfrogs the ZV-1 Mark II because it has an EVF, all right? It has everything else that the ZV-1 Mark II has. It was missing some features, and now I think they should lower the price on the ZV-E1 compared to the A7C2. They can keep that at the same price at 2,000 or 2,200 with the lens, maybe 24. I forget. But ZV-1 has gone down a little bit because, yeah, they got the nice sound array on the top of the camera with the fluffy ball, and then you can put your own type of shotgun mic on top, or even the Sony brands. But still, I'd rather have an EVF, especially on a daytime. So back to the pictures. I'm panning around. They're sharp. I'm on not uh, H HDRPQ or dynamic range, HLG or dynamic range. I'm on fine and on +5 on clarity. I like my images sharp. Okay. If I want some bokeh, I'll open wide and then get close to the subject. So, but I'm just going for the sharp images, just scrolling, panning around. And if you notice on the grass, on the Nikon, it's a little more saturated. Even on the Sony, it's more saturated. So it's almost kind of like an even tone. Yes, there's a little bit, in the center of the ditch, but I'm liking the colors better. They're more subdued. All right. And of course, the down the street pan. Went inside. Um, it's a little bit bluer. This is more of a bluish green, actually. And she's sleeping on the pillow again. She likes it there. So, and I was taking pictures last night during the live stream. So I did Cliff from Cheers. I worked at the post office for many years. I think like 38. And the stamps, the cat, the Z6 III. I have the fan going on, blowing cold air on the camera so it won't, overheat or anything. And I've had it on for hours. One day I forgot to turn off the camera. It was still going. No overheating, nothing. Okay. But I had the fan blowing on it. And it's also pointing toward me, where it's keeping me cool. This is the warmest room in the house. It has only one window. The air conditioning vent is right there, but it blows on the window. And I do have the ceiling fan, okay, right here. So I can feel the fan. I got this fan off. That's uh, just right there. So I can blow cold air on the camera and on me. And it's working out great. And then I did a picture of the tripod, the ProMaster tripod. Went back outside, did my rock. There's a great shot of the moon and stars. I wasn't trying to make the moon as dark as possible. I was trying to get that scene, and it turned out good. So with the bright light from the moon, you can still see the stars and the clouds. I think that's an awesome picture. Went back to the rocks, some trees, the plants, and that's it. That's a great shot right there. I'm going to go to shot that I like the best, which blew me away. It was just amazing what this camera did with this lens. I have other RF lenses. I use the RF 24 millimeter. That's a good lens, okay? The 35 millimeter is a great lens. Uh, Canon has some great lenses. I get the 50 millimeter. the 85. Yeah, I have the 85. No, that's on the Sony. I got the 85 f1.2 because that's my favorite portraiture lens. I use that on the river shoot. Great shots. This, I think it was this one that I like the best. And I'm going to leave it for the ending. So, what do you think? Um, uh, I'm liking this lens. I'm thinking of getting the EF 20 millimeter. If the EF 40 millimeter is anything like unreal, I'm thinking about the EF 20 millimeter. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.